Hey everybody, welcome back to Heart Talk. My name is Mac, aka Heart Attack Mac, and we are back with Alyssa. Amazeballs does not have a name yet, right?
Right.
All right. At some point we will get you a
Names are
name.
overrated. I'm not a part of the mainstream YouTube system. I don't need to have a name.
That's fair. That's fair.
I
I
actually
mean,
have a YouTube account, so that's not even true.
well, I don't. Well, yeah. Well, we should link it right here. I'm sure we would all love to listen and watch.
To my extensive collection of YouTube playlists, it's true.
Yes.
I've made many videos. They're great. You should watch them.
Yes. And we're gonna get to that at some point. I think in the future. You're
Yes.
like, no, don't pressure me. So we've been
Yeah,
gone
I'll
for a
get there.
while, and we've had some stuff going on, but we're gonna let you know what's happened, update you, and we're gonna make this a reoccurring thing. We're gonna start putting podcasts out every week. This is going to be real. We promise, and we would love your feedback. Again, I say that a lot, but I know we really appreciate it. So I'm gonna start talking about a game that I play. I've been playing right now, and then we'll end on a game that I've been playing, and we're gonna change the format of how the podcast works next week. But you guys will see how that works. We're gonna make it a little surprise, so that kind of keeps you on your toes.
Like Christmas. Our podcast is basically Christmas.
Podmas.
Podmas. Oh
Podmas.
gosh. That's like a horrible science fiction like slasher.
He was once a podcaster, but now he's coming back for revenge on Christmas. No!
Oh my
He is
gosh.
the podcaster. Okay. So a game I have been really waiting for and didn't want to buy because I'm really cheap, and I was like, I'm trying to wait for the sale, but I couldn't wait for the sale. So I bought Bayonetta 2 on the Switch, which comes with Bayonetta 1, and I was so excited to play both. I've been playing it on stream lately, and I think I play it on Mondays. I am not thoroughly impressed at the moment, but I know it's a good game, and
Honesty.
yeah, I have to be honest, and it's just the I don't get the story yet, and it's also weirdly made because sometimes characters will talk and sometimes they don't, and it's just subtitles. Seems
Interesting.
really weird. They're like,
I want to watch. Wait, so like, is it just like important scenes have, or is it just that like they almost like ran out of time and didn't finish like, dubbing it? Is that what you think happened?
I think so. I think I might be wrong. I think Bayonetta is a Japanese game or
Okay.
some like Asian Korean game. So that could be true that they didn't have time to dub it because like Bayonetta will talk. She'll in cutscenes, like straight up cutscenes, important cutscenes. There'll just be subtitles, and then in the same cutscene, she will start talking, and it's not my issue. It's so
Oh
weird,
no.
and it's other characters do it too. So that's kind of like removing me from the game. So at this point, I'm skipping all cutscenes because it's just ridiculous, and I'm just playing. The gameplay though is really great, and I like it a lot. I'm not usually a huge fan of beat 'em ups. I really like Batman, which is people joke. I watched a
Beat him up.
beat 'em up. I think that's what they're called. These types, sort of.
I'm sure it is. I just never heard that. That makes me happy.
Oh, okay. Um, I think Donkey joked about the Batman games. He doesn't like them personally because they're all very similar, and I get that. But he joked that IGN constantly would review every Batman game the exact same way. They would say, makes you feel like Batman. You're actually feeling like Batman. I just thought that was hilarious. But this game is great. If you have a chance to pick it up, I'm assuming Bayonetta 2 is a lot better in terms of the production value because it got off and was successful in the first game. But I think the fighting's pretty fluid, and the powers they give you are pretty cool. Getting a bit lost in the items though. They don't. They just kind of throw you in, and they're like, "There's no lore. They're just a shitload of items." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." But yeah, that's what I'm playing, and I'm enjoying it. Just trying to get through it though.
So what's the premise? Because like I don't really know anything about this game. I haven't even like I just googled it on my phone right now to kind of look at some of the art. But so what's the premise behind it?
Well, let me unwrap the game for you, because I've been playing it.
Literally.
So, the game, Master moves with Bayonetta's trademark. Just kidding. I'm still trying to actually grasp what the game's about since the cutscenes are garbage. I think
That's
so.
right. You did say that.
I'm gonna start with. I'll just kind of quickly describe how the game starts. So you're walking Bayonetta. She's this tall lady. She's not wearing what she normally like her skimpy things. She's got like a robe, and she's walking in the graveyard. Goes to a grave. You don't know what the grave is, and she's with for some reason this guy who's like we were talking about earlier. This Brooklyn stereotype. He's like, man, what are we doing here? What you talking about? Forget about it. Like all these things. He's actually saying these things. And all of a sudden, these angels from heaven come, and they start attacking them. And so she like flies in the air. This is actually what's happening, minus some audio. One of the angels tries to cut her with a sword, cuts right under her boobs, and then
Of course.
her, and then one on each thigh. After that, all of her clothing comes off completely, and then she gets redressed with this comfortable skin tight outfit.
Oh my gosh.
Then she proceeds to battle them. So really all I've been doing is killing angels, and I don't know why. And then there are these random like huge creatures that have weird like China doll faces, and I'm just killing things with no purpose.
I'm reading the Wikipedia page. The game's theme is, quote, sexiness and, quote, partial nudity, and the characters were designed to be, quote, fashionable.
That's hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
Bayonetta takes place in Vigrid, a fictional city in... I'm just enjoying reading this. This is funny.
And none of that...
It seems interesting.
It does. And hopefully it'll get me more... more into it.
How far into it are you? Because, like, do you know what percentage of the game you have left?
Oh, I don't know. Probably 5 or 10. I'm into it 5 or 10%, I would say.
Oh, I thought you said you had 5 or 10%. I was like, man, that's not much left to really wrap things up.
You better know like where you're at and what you're doing. Yeah, it's but and I didn't get it because of the skippiness clearly, but I thought it would be it was kind of like making fun of that
we
aspect.
all know, Mac.
We all I was like telling Sarah about this game, how excited I was. My wife.
Oh no.
And she's like, "Oh, that's so great!" Like, yeah, man. And then we go to Best Buy, and I'm like I'm scoping it out. I'm not sure if I want to get it. And I'm like, "So here it is, Bayonetta." She goes, "Oh."
Oh.
Because it's Bayonetta like leaning back, flying in the air with her butt sticking out. She's like, "Oh,
Of
that's
course.
looks like a quality game there, husband of mine."
She's like, now I know.
You fool! You've told the wife.
I like how it says like fictional city in Europe, like as if every city like that's since every city in Europe is the same.
There are a lot of reasons for it to be mature. Jeez, this is probably like more than I've ever. Blood and gore, intense violence, partial nudity, strong language, suggestive themes. The rest are in French. That's why.
They're like, these Americans don't need to worry about it.
Yeah, this is they'll find out. So yeah, Bayonetta 2 might play again. We'll see. Let you know in the future.
So, unlike Mac, I have not had all the time for video. No, I'm just kidding. I haven't been playing video games right now, per se, unfortunately. But what I have been doing is adventuring. Adventures.
I'm so lucky. I'm so jealous.
I know. So, basically, a friend of mine... This is just like a life update. This is kind of random. But, so a friend of mine from college, and I were like, let's go on an adventure. And so we actually went to a random city in Europe. And that random city in Europe was Ireland. I just said Ireland's not a city.
What did you say?
I said random city in Europe, and then I said Ireland.
That's hilarious.
As if Ireland's a city.
Random city in Europe.
I went to the city of Ireland. It was a surprisingly big, like when I think of a city, like it was just surprisingly big, All those cities in Europe, like England and like Russia. Oh boy, that was like the most American thing I could possibly have said.
They're so big over there.
Oh my gosh. So the country of Ireland. Wait, have you ever been... Wait, side tangent. Have you ever been overseas, Mac? Have you... Like, what traveling have you done?
Yes, I have. I have been. So I was going to make a joke, and it was a bad joke, so we're just going to not do that. Thank you guys for understanding. What?
So, now I'm curious. All right, no, we'll just let it go.
Yeah, we'll let it go. We'll let it go. You'll never know.
Let it go. Let it go.
Go.
No, hold it
So
back in.
when
It's
I
my beautiful
was
singing voice.
when I was younger, I went overseas with my dad, and we went to Switzerland and Italy, and that was very fun.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we took a
That's
train.
exciting.
Took a train from.
What was the best meal you had in Italy?
So I ate the same meal like 8 times actually because I thought it was so good.
Wait, what was it?
It's called spaghetti vongole. It's basically spaghetti and clams with a white sauce. But
Okay.
I really enjoyed it, and so for lunch and dinner for like 4 days, I ate it. And so what we did was we took when we had went to 2 cities in Switzerland. We we took a train to Venice, and then explored Venice, rented a car, and then we went to west coast of the country. So we went across to Florence and then went all the way down to Rome. And so on that trip down the coast, I would try spaghetti vongole many times, and it was cool because
That's a great plan.
yeah, it was super fun, and it was cool seeing how the same dish changed. It was the same country too. It just changed so much just going down because generally the closer you get to Sicily, the spicier the food because that's what they do in Sicily.
Okay,
So
that makes sense.
you can just taste the different spices, and my palate was definitely secured at 10 years old. I was definitely
You were like you were in the know.
I was feeling it. Yeah, I actually have a cousin. We were playing Jackbox last night, and one of the questions on one of the things on Quiplash made me think of this. She went to wine country with our family, and she was drinking wine and trying to act intelligent about the wine. And so she said, "It has a smoky afterbirth."
Oh no.
Afterbirth.
Oh no.
And that was interesting. We never let her live that
Speaking
down.
from experience.
Yeah?
Oh gosh.
You've had afterbirth?
Oh yeah, all the time. It's like a delicacy for me, honestly.
Ooh. Yes.
My many children. Oh god.
They've all given me the gift of afterbirth.
Parents actually, some parents eat the placenta, don't they?
They do.
Ugh. Ew, that's so gross.
They do.
So speaking of delicious food,
How was Ireland?
oh my gosh, it was so amazing. So the people in Ireland are just wonderful. Like they're so hospitable and fun, and the food was just the best. Like it was all these delicious hearty meals, like shepherd's pie, and they had seafood chowder, and every soup you bought was served with bread. Oh. So the most
Cool.
important thing for me is obviously the food, and it was so good. And then also, it was so fun too because I feel like it's such a diverse country in terms of landscapes. Like we went to, oh my gosh, the city. So first we went to Galway. I'm sorry if I horribly butcher these names. Please forgive me. But we went to Galway first, which is like this beautiful port city, and we spent a few days there. And then we went to Doolin, and we hiked something called the Cliffs of Moher, which is, it's one of those, like those kind of like impressive nature things where you really just have to be there because it's so incredible.
Yeah.
It was just, oh my gosh. It just made you realize how small you were. Like there's this one point where you're like you see these pictures and it looks like this small cliff, but then you like zoom in and you see there's like a castle on it. It just kind of shows you how tall. Oh my gosh, the best.
That's crazy. I would love to.
And
do
then
that.
we did all kinds of hiking and bicycle. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. So, if anyone out traveling costs a lot of money, so it's not in like the grasp of everyone. But we use an app called Hopper, and I know you use Scott's Cheap Flights, right? That's what it's called.
Yeah.
And then you just, you kind of keep an eye out for what's cheap. And we paid, I think our round trip tickets were like $590,
That's crazy.
which
Wow.
is like pretty crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen, like, my mom flew back to Ohio the other day and paid that much for her round trip, it's so, I know, right? They were last minute tickets, so
So you
that
said
makes
it was
difference
Hopper?
too, but still. So, oh my gosh, it was incredible. And I met so many, and also everyone has tea all the time,
That's
which
great.
just makes me incredibly happy. So,
You said that the
delightful.
website you used was Hopper?
Yeah, so it's an app. Hopper's
Okay.
Sponsored by Hopper. So
Yeah, right.
Hopper's an
We're
app.
not sponsored by anything ever right now. So anything we talk about is just because we personally like it. And when I like products or things, I get really passionate about it. So please don't think I'm advertising. I just really think that people would enjoy it. Go ahead.
I'm not advertising, but if Hopper wants to send me money, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
No, but so a friend of mine introduced me to this app, and basically you put in where you want to go, and it just tells you with, I think, that's fairly accurate, and it says like buy the tickets now or wait, and kind of tells you like when the best time to buy is.
That's cool.
But that's how we were able to get them for so cheap, which was just the best.
Is it
So
free?
the app, yes, it is free.
Okay.
It is 100.
Cool.
I mean, they like have a small service charge, I think, when you're buying your ticket, but
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
different.
it's when you're spending hundreds of dollars on plane tickets, it's pretty minuscule. I mean, it's probably like $8 or something.
And Scotch Cheap Flights is very similar too. It's not an app though. You go to the website and so there are like two options. You can do a free option or a paid option, and you put your email in. And if you have the free option, you tell it every country you want to go to and what airports you want to depart from in the U.S. And they have people that are just searching, probably using algorithms and looking for flights, and then they'll send you emails and they'll say like, from these airports, this is how much you'll pay. Basically the same thing, which is pretty cool. And if you do the free one, you'll get like 4 emails a week, which is a lot. But if you're like really trying to do something in a year, you pay $40 a year, which isn't that much. And they'll give you, I get like 4 a day if you really want to get options. But those are really cool. We're not advertising, so just yes.
We're just, it's frugal travel. Like traveling is so amazing, and so it's anything that puts like within anyone's grasp, I think is really awesome because I feel like, so this was my first time staying in hostels, which I think people kind of, it's like looked down upon, but I thought it was the most amazing thing. Like I met so many incredible people, and I think that's like the best part of traveling.
Yeah,
is you really like you're used to seeing your country and the way your country does things, and it's really cool to kind of get out of that bubble and just experience things in a different way and meet people that have very different experiences from you. So if you're able to travel, would recommend.
I have Wanderlust. Not many people do, but I really love to travel, and not many people feel this way. But if I could, I would travel. I would only travel. If I didn't have to worry about money, and not many people feel this way. That's just me. Wanderlust.
It's like, so I think it's the
I'm just
adventure
being
too
a
and the
jerk.
excitement.
If you didn't notice.
I met this guy named Kevin who, oh my gosh, he's from France. He was so cool. And he was like, yeah, so basically, so they were just hitchhiking throughout the country. And I was like, how is that? And he was like, yeah, it was scary at first. He's like, but now we're fine. But
That would
basically,
terrify me.
I mean, oh, I know. But like, he was like, you can always say no. Like some scary person with, when the guy pulls you over with like a ski mask on and has a chainsaw on the seat, you just say, I think I'm gonna hold off until the next one. But
I'll wait.
yeah, I think that, oh my gosh, he just did like contract work. So he first of all, he would like work, he would live at home and like work for a few months and then go and travel. And
That's
then
cool.
he also, I think he does like like some kind of software, computer science mumbo jumbo that I don't understand, but
Right.
he's able to like work on the road too. But he's like, yeah, so I'm actually gonna hitchhike through South America next and possibly through the States. And I was like, hit me up because I'm in Texas and I can give you a ride. So
Yeah, that's really cool. I know, and it's funny because certain people have that. They'll have the occupation where they can do things like that on the
just
go.
so nice.
Matt could
Yeah.
if he wanted to. Sometimes, not like always, but and that's really cool. It's different than just getting. And some people do this. Like I know a lot of people like they just travel and they get dead end jobs wherever they're at, just so they can have enough money. My dad did that as a kid too. My grandfather worked for TWA, which was a flight company, and my dad and my uncles got free tickets anywhere in the world. They were not rich by any means. They were poor as dirt. So they'd like have to they would go to these places. Like my dad would go to like, why can't I not think of any country? They would go to Bali or something and in the 70s and they would just work there. And that just sounds fun.
So cool. Yeah.
It's stressful for me though, because I'm like, I need to have something, like security, but that's really cool that people can do that.
Oh, I know. It's just, oh my gosh, it's incredible. But I feel like, there's like smaller adventures too. And we're actually going to talk a little bit about that, within our own country. So
yeah, really quick though, the food, like I'm really interested because I have Irish background and I love Irish food, but I just think it's like a lot of it's very similar and that's interesting to know that you liked it a lot.
I did. Well, I think it was the weird thing. First of all, they had a lot of Indian food there too, which was kind of cool. I think
Huh.
there's just like, and I think in all of the UK,
Right.
there's like an influence of that. But so that was interesting. But really, I mean, it's like it's stereotypical, and I mean, certainly this could be mostly because of where I was staying, because we were both under 25, my friend and I, so we didn't really rent cars. But basically, it was a lot potatoes, a lot. Oh my gosh, they serve fries with everything. It was so funny. Like you get a plate
Really?
of lasagna, you're getting fries with it,
That's amazing.
which they call chips because it's the UK. So you get your chips.
Chips.
But I mean, you have your fish and chips and hearty stews and soups. Oh, so good.
Sounds like my life. My
You
kind
will
of
not
life.
go hungry in Ireland.
Is it like affordable, you think?
um, I don't know. I think it was pretty because I've heard stories of people that have gone to Italy and paid like $2.50 for a plate of food. But for I think it was
Eh,
pretty. I mean, like a lot of like €13, €15, which
okay.
is
That's a lot. Yeah.
in of the yeah, which is, so
It's like 17
I don't
bucks
think so.
even.
But you do get like pretty big portions. So.
Okay.
And you don't have to tip in I mean, it's always nice to tip, I think, but you don't have to tip in Ireland, so you're
Yeah.
paying a little more, but like the tip is included, I guess.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
that helps a lot.
Cool. Well, thank you for sharing that. We're gonna move on just because we're getting a little late in time here. But that was a fun section. So
Yes.
we have both been moving around the country doing moving things, and Alyssa's been just extremely busy. I mean, I don't know how you moved to Ireland and then moved.
I moved to I know.
Dang it. she visited Ireland and then moved to Texas in the in
Like a
like
week later.
a week later. I moved. I lived in Orlando. I'll tell you the county if you'd like. Orange County. Just kidding. It's all Orange County in Orlando. Swag. So I went from Orlando to Atlanta, Georgia, and it was okay. I have a new job. I'm working for Ken's Foods. I'm doing engineer stuff, which is very fun. Because that is not what I
Sauce
was.
boss.
Do what? Sauce's boss. Yes.
Sauce boss. You are the sauce boss.
Yes. We make Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue, which is great. You guys should try it. Again, not
My
advertised
love.
or sponsored.
Oh, so good.
But I got here. My wife was finishing. She was doing her master's in Tampa. She's finishing that, staying there, and so I came here for a month. And before we had rented a place. They spotted us a hotel for a month. So I'm just living in a hotel. Some of you probably know this watching my streams. And it was not a great experience. I get stupidly bothered when there were people like making noise around me. So it was just bad. But then after we moved to this cool house, we are paying like the median amount for this area, but it's a bigger house than we thought we would get, and so we're really excited about that.
That is really exciting.
Yeah, it is, and it's in a
What
cool area.
what was the best and worst part about your move?
The worst part would probably be just being in the hotel. It was close to work,
That's what it sounded like. Yeah.
but it was just I don't know. The noise.
It wasn't like This Be Life, Zach and Cody. It wasn't like a fun time.
Wish it was. My mom's the singer at this hotel, but we
So we live here for
afford
free.
it to live in the hotel. It's fine. And crazy adventures. Nope. But the best part was just ending up in a cool spot. We're close enough to downtown where it's like 30-minute drive. Now you're really closing in on where I live. But we've got some cool a couple areas nearby that have nice independent restaurants, and they're boutiques and things like that. So we can have that unique lifestyle, but not have to live in the city. And I didn't love the city life. My wife did, but it's
So fun.
I really enjoy being over here.
Atlanta's like, and so I went to Clemson, so I was about 2 hours away from Atlanta,
Yeah.
and I loved it. I thought, and maybe it was because it was like Clemson is like this small rural like town in the middle of nowhere with nothing. So Atlanta's kind of like a big change from that, but I thought it was so much fun. Like I loved being there, and I think living there is probably a little more stressful because the traffic is just the worst.
Yeah,
Like,
it's pretty bad.
I don't understand. There's like 12 lanes and they're all full 24 hours a day. And I'm like,
know.
where do these people come from?
Yeah, it's funny, and I'm really lucky because we live closer to the city, but I work south of where I live,
Oh,
so
okay, so you don't have to deal with quite so bad.
quite so bad. It's a reverse commute, but it's still like not amazing. So I don't work on
Watch.
an off shift right now like I was expecting I would. So that would be amazing. But right now I work, not where I work, but
So you're hitting rush hour essentially.
so yeah, I'm hitting rush hour, but it's not as bad. Like leaving work, it's standstill. Not leaving work, sorry, leaving the city. At the same time, I'm leaving work to come to the city. It's standstill. So and I have traffic, but it's not nearly as bad. So that's good.
That is good.
But once you're in Midtown, it's hilarious because yeah, there are 8 to 12 lanes of traffic and they're all full on either side.
It's stressful. I like that actually, and having just moved to a big city too. I think that's like the most stressful thing for me is the like learning how to, because I mean Charleston was just not like that, and since I lived in Mount Pleasant too, it's like even less crazy. So this is the first time I've ever been in like a big city with like I'm just like what, so many times like on the highway and I'm like what is happening.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely takes some getting used to. Defiantly, as some people would spell it.
Finally, okay, the two words that I struggle most with spelling are definitely in restaurant. Like I cannot
Oh
to
my
this day
gosh.
spell.
Yes.
I think it's like restaurant, and
Yeah.
I have to think that actively when I spell it.
Welcome to the restaurant. My name is Jerry. How may I take your order?
Like how like Jerry from like Rick and Morty, is that where that came from?
Yeah, actually it is. But I didn't do the voice. Hi, I'm Jerry. I can't do it at all. I'm Morty, and I'm Rick. I mean... Actually, that sounded like Mr. Poopy Butthole for a second.
Yeah, it did actually a lot.
I've got a career here.
Future voice actor, you're in the right place. Oh my gosh.
He wanted me to tell you that he's sorry you don't have any good memories of him. That's a quote from Rick and Morty. Okay, really quick. There's an episode where they wake up and they're eating breakfast and Rick shoots one of the family members and they turn into a bug and die. And Morty's like, "What the fuck? That was Dad, Rick!" And then he's like, "Oh, it was a leech, Morty." And the whole episode's about how there are these like intergalactic leeches that or it wasn't his dad, it was like some rando, and
They're parasites.
they're parasites. You know the episode?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. And they'll implant memories in your brain that don't exist, but then they'll form the person or the thing that memory is centered around. So like the whole episode, they're trying to kill every last parasite, but it's hard because they think that all these parasites were actually involved in their lives. And there's this one individual named Mr. Poopy Butthole who was there since the very beginning of the episode, but you've never seen him before. And so everybody thinks that he's one of the parasites, and at the end Beth the mom shoots him because she thinks it, and
he's like and all the other ones like gush like pink and he's just like bleeding and you're like,
Yeah.
oh.
She's instantly mortified. She's like, "Oh my god, oh he'll turn any second," and he doesn't turn, and so he ends up having to like
Wait, I have to make a bad pun.
Okay.
You could say she's Rick and mortified.
Oh, that's good.
Sorry, I had to do it.
He basically has to learn to walk again. So at the very end of the episode, I think it's after the credits, he's doing the thing where he's like getting guided on the rails, trying to step a little bit more.
Therapy.
The physical therapy, yeah. And then they're just watching. She feels terrible, and one of the therapists comes out, and she's like, "Did he say anything?" And he goes, "He wanted to tell you that he's sorry that you didn't have any bad memories of him." Because the parasites would only put good memories in your brain, so that's how you would know if you could think about one of the people like Jerry and you had a bad memory of them, then they were part of the family. But if they were only good, then you would kill them. And Mr. Poopy Butthole is just a nice guy.
It's so interesting. I do quite enjoy that show.
But I'm sure most of the jokes go over your head, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. Absolutely. I don't think you'll understand the physical and chemical implications of this show. Yeah, I'm kind of glad actually that I'm not like that, so.
What were your best and
Rick
worst
and
parts
Morty.
of moving?
What were my okay. So my worst part of moving, I think, was like so I kind of just moved. So I have an aunt that lives here, so I'm living with my aunt right now. So I don't really have a job or a place to stay. And so that was the worst part of my move, was just kind of getting over the fear of like showing up here and not kind of knowing what to expect.
Yeah.
And also like having no, I don't know if you've experienced this, but like I don't didn't have any friends in Texas, so it was kind of like sitting alone in the apartment sometimes being like, what am I doing, you know? So I think that was like the worst part, because I don't think anyone tells you. I mean, you kind of like expect it to be like this new and exciting thing, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna meet all these people and it's gonna be so
But
fun. And
how?
it is fun, but there's still like this like side of it where you're like, wow, this is lonely, this kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would say the worst part has been like the transition there, but the best part, I think the best part has been probably like learning to be super comfortable with myself. So like, you know, kind of going out to a park by myself and really just kind of get, because I'm really introverted, and so I think that for me this has been like a big step of courage, because I can't just like sit in my apartment all day and not meet people, you know? So I have to
Yeah.
like really push myself out of my comfort zone and show up places alone. So like I'm going to a cookout on Sunday and I'm like, I don't know anyone, but we're just gonna go for it. So I think it's been really cool to kind of really come out of my shell and just like be adventurous and just do things. So like I'm gonna take a train. So, you know, if anyone is like considering moving to a new place, just, you know, be prepared to experience a little bit of loneliness, but like take it on as an adventure would be like my best advice, because like I'm so excited, because like I made a list of like, because Dallas, Texas is a big city, and it's like much bigger than anything I've experienced before.
Yeah. It's big.
Where it's like you just drive under these like interstates and there's just like 6 tiers of highway above you, and you're like, whoa, where do these even go?
The
But
future is here.
really though, but I think it's like really cool because I can hop on a train and go into downtown and just kind of explore and do all these things. So it's like been this really amazing adventure, and I'm just learning like some new things about myself and about the city every day, which has been really cool. Also Tex-Mex, that's pretty awesome too.
Oh, I bet that's great. I remember like living in Colorado, the Mexican food was fantastic, and then going to
So
South
good.
Carolina, it just levels off. So that must
Well,
be
I
good.
think that like the biggest thing I've noticed, because I love Mexican food, the biggest thing for me is the salsa. Like in Mount
Ooh,
Pleasant, when I go
yeah.
to like an American Mexican place, the salsa is like this red, watery, like, I mean, it's fine, but
Oh,
it's
but it's
nothing to write
chunky
home
and
about. Yes,
yes.
like you go to a restaurant, and they'll give you like three kinds of salsa, and this like all these different textures, the mouth feel. They got really good mouth feel,
Mm,
but oh, it's so
mm,
good.
mm,
So that's like the food. Basically, the food is all I care about.
yeah, that's a good part. It's a big part of it. With the like the whole loneliness thing too. I was listening to maybe a podcast. I don't know, something. Ooh, this is a podcast. Um, and
Whoa,
so
full circle.
we were talking about they were talking about like meeting people and talking to people, and how sometimes it's just mortifying to just speak to somebody you don't know. And it's funny, they're like, you, we live in America. We live like not just America, but like we live in 2018. Like you can walk up to, you should be able to walk up to anybody and just talk to them. It's not weird. It really isn't, but you make it seem like it is. And there are people who, like, American culture is very, maybe not introverted necessarily, but like they're
Individualistic.
very individualistic. So it's difficult. It's weird for other people, but like you should be able to do this. So don't feel like you can't. And it's like, yeah, like why can't I just walk, like see something on the side of the street and say like, wow, those are cool shoes or something. Like why, that's so weird how culture has made that against the norm, or like
Yeah, well, and I feel like you can make it
taboo.
like, you know, because if someone's like not comfortable with you talking to them, like, sure, okay, that's gonna happen. Like, some people just are not gonna know what to do with it, but
Yeah,
you just kind of gotta push through the rejection, and that's how you meet people. I totally agree with that.
yeah, it's
So
interesting.
I think that like there's a lot, and the other thing I will say is when moving, there's always something to like leave behind, because that was one of the biggest things for me. I was like, oh, but if I leave now, there's this and that, and then I kind of reached a point where I was like, no matter when I move, there's always going to be something you leave behind.
Yep.
But which is sad, and that's okay. But like, there's so much, like, it's so exciting, and yeah, I mean, I would, if you're comfortable with that, I would definitely recommend, like, everyone should move to a new city at some point, just because it really is such a learning experience. You know, maybe don't be quite as adventurous as me. Maybe find a job first and a place to live, but
It's
maybe
still
not. I
hard
mean, you
though.
know, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But oh my gosh, and I think especially like a change of pace is really cool too, because you know, I've done the kind of suburbia of Mount Pleasant, and I've done the very rural Clemson, and now I'm like in a huge city, and I think it's just like really interesting to see like the different dynamics and the pros and cons of each. So yeah, I don't know. It's really really nifty.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. That's cool. Um, we're gonna finish with more of Mac because that's what you want.
Because Mac is the I can't think of a pun. Wow,
The
I've
boy.
failed my entire existence.
Mac is the Fab Attack Mac right here. That's not a pun. So another game I've been playing recently. If you watch my streams, you can just mute me right now. Just kidding. Please don't. I love you. I've been playing God of War a lot, and I think maybe that 15-20% into it. If
Is that the new one with like
it's
the
the
kid?
new, yes, it's the new one.
Okay.
It is everything good you've heard about it and more. It is just it. I like just being the cynical person I am. I pick up a AAA game and I want to play it, and I am just so used to and expecting a pile of garbage that looks good, and just them being like pre-orders. Thanks for the pre-orders. We're just gonna scrap it and release it though. But this game does so much well, and again, I'm gonna bring up Donkey because I watch him a lot. Donkey video games. Wait, video game Donkey. And he usually destroys games. He'll review it, and people will like it, and he'll be like, yeah, but like you never thought about how they're doing this, and it's so it's not creative. And then you come back and you're like, oh yeah, that is kind of dumb. But this game, like, he doesn't have anything bad to say. Maybe some really minor stuff. He had 3 minor things, but all in all, hold on. I was gonna get the box, but never mind.
No, I wait for no one.
I wait for no one. All in all, like the gameplay is awesome. The fighting with the axe, how you can throw it, and all the different combos you can make. The amount of unlockables from moves you have is a bit overwhelming for me, but I just have never been, if you play that standard fighting arcade where you have all those different combos, I was always terrible at memorizing. So it's not really a nick against the game. It's just because I'm stupid and I can't do it. But but just the fighting it's very fluid. I think they did a really good job with the kid. It was weird adding him, but it really mixes with the story because what this God of War is it's after he's basically killed every Greek god. He has exiled himself from Greece, and he's now in some Norse country, and just trying to survive. And he's had a family. He married a woman and had a kid with her. In the beginning of the game starts, she is dead, so there's not really not ruining anything there. She's already dead, and you and the kid bury her together. Or actually, it's a pyre. You're cremating her, and the whole game is amazing because it's Kratos, who's this big bulky guy who just doesn't give a shit about anybody but himself. And like all the other God of War games, he kills gods because he is so pissed that Ares took advantage of him. It didn't really take advantage of him. He gave him his soul, but Ares made him do things he didn't want to do. He killed every god because of it, and he's just that guy. And now he has a family, and people might say it's stupid, but I think it's cool because they develop this side of Kratos that you don't really know. And throughout the game, he's just dissing his boy the whole time, but he's kind of developing with him too, which is great. Building character. And in somebody who you thought wouldn't have character, which I love.
I think that's so cool because like it's so interesting to see, and I think it just makes the game more dynamic too. I'm sure because I think change is good and normal, and a lot of people freak out at like, oh, it's not the same, but like, that's life, like that. It's more believable to me that someone would change and evolve over time than just do the same thing, wash, rinse, repeat over and over and over again. And I don't know why you'd want that for a game to eat anyway, because I feel like that would just get old over time.
Yeah, I guess it's a personality thing because you assume it's a fabricated game, so the person is going to be fabricated and be the same.
Yeah.
So once you change it, and I listen to a Simpsons podcast a lot, and they talk about there are different writers, obviously, that will write episodes. So they'll say, oh, this episode was believable. Like, the characters did things that were believable. They were different, but you could assume that
within the scope of okay,
right.
that makes sense.
But then some wouldn't. Like sometimes they'll do wacky and far out adventures, which is actually a reference to the show, an episode. But if you got that, good for you.
Hey Mac, do you like The Simpsons?
but then like, and I never really thought about that. I just maybe didn't like an episode. But you kind of go back and you're like, it doesn't really make sense they would do that. Like it's not even reasonable for their character. So for Kratos, I think it is. I think like Kratos is sick and tired of what he's doing, killing gods, and he wanted something more with his life, and found somebody to share that with. And he deeply feels for the woman that died. His son brings her up a lot in mourning, and says, "Oh, mom would love this," and he tells him to shut up a lot. And it's an interesting dynamic because he is the father figure, and this is just his kid, and so he kind of develops into respecting his son more, because his son has to actually fight to help them survive, because Kratos can't do it on his own. I think maybe he could, but with the kid's gonna have to fight to survive for himself, I think. And you can see him develop too. There's a funny quote in it where the kid's like, I really hope that that would be really cool if this happened, because then, and I'm trying not to ruin things, because then this could happen. He's just being really optimistic, and then Kratos goes, "Boy," he just calls him boy, "Boy, always have low expectations." And you're like, that's kind of a shitty thing to say, but he said, "Always have low expectations because then you'll never be let down," which is interesting. Like, you have to take it with a grain of salt, because you shouldn't always have low expectations.
Cynical, but it's not wrong.
Right, and it's especially in the situation.
Well, that sounds like it's in the scope of the character too. I feel like that kind of shows you that character is still developing, and even though he's kind of got that, there's this emotional side. There's still kind of all that like dark, war-hardened kind of mentality. Yeah,
definitely. And I just get the gameplay makes all of it together. Like all the stuff we talked about in the first podcast is in this game, like at least an 8 out of 10 across the board, maybe more. But it just makes me want to keep playing it, and I don't want to not play it on stream because I want you guys to share it too. But one really quick function that I like on it, and then I'll be done. So there's an overworld that from there you can go to each of the dimensions. It's not dimensions. You guys can yell at me in the comments if you want. I always forget what they're called. But there are other worlds or dimensions or whatever the hell. And in that overworld, your way of transport is like a canoe boat thingy. And you get in it with your son, and then you'll go to little spots in the overworld, and then you can travel outside of that. A really neat thing that they do is that when they're in the canoe, as the father figure, Kratos will tell his boy, Atreus, these fables. They're like mythical fables. Some of them are just random fables. Some of them aren't. Most of them are Norse fables. Maybe all of them. But they're like, the tortoise and the hare, things like that. And it's cool because he actually has genuine responses. They're not like, "Wow, cool, thanks, Dad." Genuine recorded responses that are different every time. And it's just, it's so good to listen to. But the coolest part, in my opinion, and it's so minor, but I think it makes a really big impact, is from when they're doing this and they're having this discussion. You end up like canoeing and you get to where you're going. You like find a little island and you dock. Right when you dock, in most video games, in a situation where they're talking in transportation, they cut off and they stop and immediately, and then they don't bring it up ever again until you happen to get that track again, by chance. Instead, when you dock, it's very fluid. So he'll be talking, he finishes his sentence or a part in the sentence that makes sense, and he'll go like, "We'll finish this later." And they get out of the boat. When you get on, you continue the story, but then the boy goes, "Oh, can we talk more about like the tortoise and the hare?" And it's a conversation. It's not objective.
It seems less forced almost, yeah.
Yes, and it's so good. I love it. Please play this game if you haven't, or watch my streams. Either one. It's very fun.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to my Facebook, Twitter, and my Foursquare accounts. And my
MySpace. You forgot MySpace.
Yeah, you did. You're right.
Top 8. Shoot for the top 8.
You're right. So thank you guys so much for listening. We're excited to put out some more podcasts for you in the future. This was very fun, and we're gonna have a new structure for you. And hopefully, if it sticks, we're gonna keep it going that way. But again, feedback is what helps us be better for you guys. So thank you.
Yeah. So if it sucks, if you you're like, wow, no, I hated this. I want it to go back to the way it was before. Let us know that too, because we're of the people for the people. So
By the people.
by the people, around
Yes.
the people,
And through people, inside, above, down below. Yes, these are
all of them, all the things. Yeah.
So guys, go ahead.
I was just say yeah. So we are excited to be back.
Yes.
Definitely.
And so yeah, thank you guys so much. We're excited to be back. Just totally reiterating what you said because I forgot what I was gonna say.
Smooth.
Hope you guys have a great week.
We're really good at this.
We're trying to get better though, so please bear with us. We're trying to get better. We're listening to podcasts and doing our best to kind of like change how we talk so that it's more pleasing to your ear holes.
Oh boy.
Yeah, oh boy. So I hope you guys have a great week. We will see you next week. I don't know when we're uploading. I think I'm not gonna say a day because then I'll be a liar. But I'll see you next week sometime. Talk to your ear holes. Have a good one, and I love you. Mwah.